Hi, this is Mark from Wiki. In this Photoshop tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can create a really clean outline stroke on an object like this. So the technique I'm going to show you is going to give you full control over the stroke, making it really easy for you to change anything in the future. So let me give you a quick demo. As you can see, I have all of my options I need inside of the pen tool. And so I can easily change the width of these strokes right here. I can easily change the colors. So if I wanted black or green, I can easily change that rate all within this panel. And then I even have more options if I want to have it where the outline's from the inside or the outside. So now I'm going to show you exactly how I was able to pull all of this off. Okay, so the first step, of course, is going to be you're going to want to make sure that you have a selection. So I've already cut ourselves out right here. I'm not going to be covering how I did that in this tutorial. This is just going to be how to do the stroke. So once you have that all selected, so you should see like the marching ants is what they call it. While you have that selected, what I recommend is opening up the pen tool right here. So just go ahead and click the pen tool and go up here where it says shape. It should be shape. Change that to path. We're gonna need to be able to click this button in just a few steps. So now what you need to do is go underneath your paths panel right here. And if you don't see a panel called paths that's underneath window, you're gonna want to make sure you have paths enabled. So when you have that enabled, you should see this little tiny drop down box right here. It's a little hamburger menu. Go ahead and click that. And this button right here says make work path. So we need to be able to make sure we can convert that selection into a working path. Now inside the tolerance, this is where you have some options. So what I'm going to do is show you the two extremes, and then usually by default it's set to like 2 pixels. So let me go ahead and show you what that does. So if I go ahead and just hit 0.5, and if I hit OK and I zoom in, you can see there's a whole bunch of like anchor points all right side of here. So this is like if you need really good like granular control, you want to go really small, like 0.5. But let's go ahead and do the opposite and do 10. So if you remember, there was a whole bunch of like blue little points right here. When I do the same thing, when I make the 10 pixels, now it's going to stretch over. And you can see there's only like 1 point here and like another one right here. So that's the 2 extremes. So really fine detail or not a lot of detail. So as you can see, like the arch to my head isn't like gonna line up very well. So I think that's why 2 is kind of like the sweet spot in most cases. So let's go back and just change that to 2. And you can see right here, that's like a good amount of points. So if I need to make any edits, I can go ahead and do that all within here. So like I said, it was good to have the pen tool selected because we need to click this button where it says shape. So go ahead while the pen tool's selected, make sure you hit shape. And now you should see something happen. And then inside the paths panel, you're going to see that it created a whole new one. So we can go ahead and delete the other one just so you don't get confused. And if for some reason that wasn't showing up or was like grayed out like that, what you need to do is select your path, and then you should see that shape button appear. So that's really important. So now that's basically it. So now you're going to have full control over how this stroke's going to appear. Because there's a lot of different ways you can do this inside of Photoshop. But this one is my favorite because it's going to give you a nice smooth line and everything is going to work out pretty well. So while your pen tool is selected, you're going to want to make sure you go over into shape. And then this is where you're going to have full control over your stroke. So let me go ahead and actually turn off this layer of us. And yeah, as you can see, when you do that, you're going to probably have it above. So if you want to make sure that your stroke is below your object. So let me go ahead and just turn that off. And then you're going to see it's going to look kind of funky. And so I'm going to show you a quick way to change that, and then kind of like the more complicated way to make sure you fix anything like this right here. Okay, so while that's selected, you can go and I'll just kind of walk through everything right here. So if you do fill, you're going to see that's going to fill the inside of your stroke. So if you have something like a person, you're probably going to always just want to have this off, but you do have an option for that. And then this right here is going to be the most important one. So stroke, this is going to be where you can change the color of the stroke. So you can change it green, blue, white, but let's just change white right here. And then let me zoom out a little bit. So as you can see, this is the cutout. And this next box right here is of course going to be the width of the stroke. And you can see right here, that's how wide it is. Now inside of this one, this is going to be where you're going to choose if you want like a dash line, like dots, but in this case, I'm just going to do a solid line. And then down here is going to be some really important options. So align. So there's 3 different options right here. So I'm going to choose the first one. And what that's doing is if I go ahead and choose the shape tool so you can see and zoom in a little bit, Let me actually turn off this blue background. You probably can't see it. Okay, so the blue line right here is your stroke. And then what it's doing now with this option is it's doing the inside. So it's going to fill everything from the stroke going inward. So as you can see, when I do that, it's scaling the inside. So that's probably not what you're going to want to have. So in most cases, you're probably going to want to either choose center right here or the outside. So as you can see, when I do center, the blue line's in the middle of the stroke. So now when I scale up, it's going to scale it from the center of the line. And then of course, the last one is going to be the opposite, where it's the outside of the line and then filling outward. So you could be either using center or the outside. So let me just scale that. So now that's going to scale. Let me zoom out so you can see a little bit better. Now when I do the outside, you can see it's going to scale to the outside. Okay. So if you have it where the line's going all the way to the outside like that, there is one quick way to fix that. And is if you go underneath here and underneath corners, you're going to want to choose this one probably right here called rounded. So that's going to take all of your points and then kind of round them off, because this one is using it where the points are like square. So unless you have a really precise cut like this, it's not going to work very well. So let me show you exactly why this happened and then maybe how you can clean it up a little bit. So like I said, the reason why you're going to get all of these extreme cuts like this is because your selection is too detailed, if that makes sense. So let me go into something kind of complicated. And this will probably only happen on a model like this or like an object where it's like hair and it's finely detailed. So as you can see, the selection down here, if I zoom in right here, all of these like blue lines, if it's coming across in the video, this is like a bit of a mess. That's why that rounded corner thing is going to solve that solution pretty quick. Now, if you start to go down a rabbit hole, and I did this for this video, is I started to delete these anchor points. Let me go into here and turn us off so you can see a little bit better. If you go into your pen tool and you start to go in here, and let me go ahead and underneath your pen tool, if you start to delete these like points, it's going to fix it, but then you're going to have to keep deleting points like this. And then you're going to have to like figure out which one is causing the issue. And then you're going to have to like go here and start to like pull the anchor points around. So you will easily go down like a rabbit hole that's going to probably drive you crazy. So what I recommend is maybe going into here like this and just delete all of these anchor points like that. So you have something like that, and then go back into here, and then let's go ahead and make it where you don't have to go down that rabbit hole of like deleting and trying to navigate all that. So let me go ahead and show you in this situation if you want to add that back. So what we can do is let's go over here, and I believe the issue is if I go like this, I can go like this, move this point down here. And now I can start to add some points right here. So you can see when I mouse over, I can start to add some more details. So if I know her head's going to be shaped like this is going to be a lot more manageable. So now I just click that. And then you go into here, and now I can easily click and drag these points. This is so much easier than trying to do it the other way. And then this way, if you need to have an area that has, you know, like a bigger stroke, you can always go ahead and start to move these points around. So that's why I really wanted to make this video, is because there's a lot of other videos out there like this, but this is going to give you 100% control over, like, if you want one part to be thicker than the other, you can do that. So you're going to have, like I said, you're going to have full granular control, because most of these other tools, you're not going to be able to like move out all of these points. So something like this, if I wanted to fix this part, bring that down. So yeah, I just definitely wanted to show that there's a lot of flexibility when you use something like the stroke tool. And there you go, just kind of like a rough outline right here. And then like I said, at any point, this is like non-destructive, so you can always go in with the pen tool and change the width of this. So you can always go in, start to change that around. And that's it for this video on how I like to do my stroke outlines inside of Photoshop. Hopefully you found this helpful. Again, this is Mark from Wiki.